Good afternoon, everyone. So only few of them are there. Am I audible?
Good afternoon, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Fine.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon. Just text in your WhatsApp group to join the class quickly. Only 26 members. Yeah, they are joining. So in the previous classes, I was discussing about the first language and the acquisition and the second language learning, the interference of mother tongue, the influence of mother tongue, right? And the cognitive developments that take place in a child in learning and acquiring a language, right? So actually, what is the difference between first language acquisition and second language learning? Yes, anybody? What do you mean by language acquisition and language learning? Anybody out there? Yeah. What do you mean by language acquisition and language learning? Language acquisition takes place in the natural
Manner.
environment. It happens naturally, right? Like how the way we acquire our mother tongue. We acquire that language by exposing ourselves to the people around us or the surroundings around us, where we are greatly exposed to the language, right? Whereas language learning takes place as an artificial process. Here we learn by the rules. We learn by through the textbooks, right? There are some guidelines that we follow to learn the language. Am I clear? Yeah? Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here, just to recap everything like what we have studied, mother tongue has a greater influence on the usage of the target language, or in the learning of target language. Here it is English. Okay. And let's see the difference between first language acquisition and second language learning. Actually, what could be the factors that contribute to the mother tongue acquisition and the target language learning? First of all, any language that could be learned only through constant practice. And here, when we are trying to learn mother tongue, acquire mother tongue language, we are exposed to the people where they speak mother tongue. Okay, and the child also, while acquiring that mother tongue, it tries to tell its parents or anybody else like what exactly her needs and desires are. Okay, and there is no one to correct them, right? And as soon as they speak anything, anything wrong, then immediately the people around him will correct him, right? So this is what is happening when in the process of acquiring a mother tongue or L1 language, right? And throughout the day, they'll be exposed to the people, and they try to sometimes imitate the other people also, and in that way also, like, they try to learn the language rather than they don't concentrate much on the rules that go into the mother tongue language, first language, right? And this first language acquisition is, yes, it is different from second language learning, because first language acquisition takes place in a natural and unnatural method, and it is an unconscious way of learning. Subconsciously, we keep learning the language, and if there are any errors committed by us, will be rectified by our parents. They try to correct us then and there. So this is how it happens. But when it comes to the second language learning, it is, we can say it's an artificial process. And here, the language is learned through rules and forms. Okay, and it is a controlled, this second language learning will take place in a controlled atmosphere, right? So these are some of the differences and also the factors which contribute for the L1 acquisition and L2 learning, all right? And there are many linguists, who said, like Jeffrey Broughton and his colleagues, they say that an adult learning English needs many years of educational training, a developed intelligence, a determination to get what they want, fairly clear aims, and above all, strong motivation to make as rapid a progress as possible. Right? He says that, the mother tongue acquisition happens very easily and happens very easily and very quickly, because the exposure is greater here. Whereas a person can get command over the L2, second language, only after thorough educational training, and it might take years also. Okay, so then we have like the differences. What could be the differences between the first language acquisition and the second language learning? The first one, as we said, that first language acquisition is a natural process where the children subconsciously, tries to develop linguistic knowledge of the setting or the surroundings they live in. Whereas second language learning takes place where the target language is the language spoken in the language community, which differs from the community that speaks mother tongue. Okay. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Next difference, most of the time in the process of acquiring mother tongue, the child is exposed. Okay, the child is exposed. Just a second, I'm trying to. Okay, and in the second language learning, it doesn't happen, because only in the school timings, and in those school timings also, very rarely we find children are using the target language in their interaction with others, right? And it is always a conscious process, and it happens in a very controlled way. That might be one of the reasons why we acquire mother tongue very easily, but second language learning seems to be very difficult. Okay, and so these were the facts that were revealed by Gresham, Terrell, and they tried to differentiate this language acquisition from the language learning, especially in the context of mother tongue acquisition and English or the target language or the second language learning. You'll define this acquisition of the language to be the gradual development of ability in a language by using it naturally in communicative situations with others who know the language. So these are some definitions that were given by Yule for language acquisition, whereas he differentiates that from language learning. He says that a more conscious process of accumulating knowledge of the features such as vocabulary and grammar of a language, typically in an institutional setting. Right? This happens in a college or a school where we happen to interact with other classmates, schoolmates, or schoolmates of the teachers, and we try to enhance our vocabulary too. So these are some differences, and there are some more individual differences which can fall into two groups. The first one, physical differences and age. Like already we studied that there lies a critical period in between 0 to 12 years where the brain keeps on developing, right? And at the same time in the child, even the speech organs keep developing during this period. So both these developments occur simultaneously and at a time. And there is a high scope for the quick acquisition of the mother tongue. And that period is called the critical period. But in a cognitive and psychological difference, this is a second group where, the adults might not that easily grasp a new language, can learn a new language that quickly because their brain has already developed, and the ability to grasp, the grasping power of the brain, it might eventually decrease. All right. And there might be many psychological and cognitive differences also, which stops the learners to learn second language that efficiently and quickly, right? Vivian Cook, for example, he states that the bigger motivation leads to better performance in L2. See, feedback and reinforcement. These are the two weapons that can be used to promote L2 learning. And he said, according to Cook, he said there are two types of motivation. One is integrative and the other one is instrumental. Integrative in the sense the student tries to identify the people who speaks the language, and also the student try to target the culture of that community which speaks this target language, right? And also to some extent the people who speak English, right? And a kind of motivation, integrative type of motivation, helps the student to identify the culture and the people of that language, community which uses this language. And the second type of motivation, according to Vivian Cook, is instrumental. Instrumental motivation is a kind of thing which promotes the second language learning of the students to enhance their career prospects, right? For any other practical reason, like, which career they would like to opt, right? And if they go, it depends, like they learn the second language just to, to have a career, right? So that is the instrumental type of motivation. And Ellis also adds two more types of motivation to the Vivian Cook two types of motivation. The first one is resultative motivation, which takes place when learning controls the motivation, right? And the second one is intrinsic motivation, in which involves the activation, arousal, and maintenance of the learning curiosity. Intrinsic motivation is the one where the students, they come forward to learn the language out of their own interest. So they'll be very active, and they show that curiosity to learn that language and to, eventually to accomplish their goals, right? Whereas Resultative motivation, it is nothing but it's a motivation which can be controlled by the learning which can be controlled by the motivation. So there are many other cognitive factors also which play a very important role in determining learners' effort and competence in the language learning. Some people are very quick learners, some are very poor learners, but the motivation plays a very important key role here, like how to motivate a slow learner to learn the language quickly and have a place in the group of quick learners, right? And one more thing, in first language acquisition, children spend several years listening to the same language, either from their parents or from the people around them or through media, anything as such. But in second language acquisition, it doesn't happen. They are not exposed to that extent, because the school hours, like when they are from 9 to 3 or so, only during that time they are exposed to that language, and that too if everyone speaks in the target language. Otherwise, no, right? And we also learned that children are quick enough in grasping one or more languages or learning one or more languages compared to the adults. And L2 learning, one more thing, L2 learning is not genetically triggered in any way unless the child grows up in a bilingual environment. That means, we all have grown up in bilingual environment. So in some families, mother can't speak English, but father can speak very good English. So what is happening, like they speak in Telugu with mother and they speak in English with father when he tries to interact with them in English. So these things will happen. And another difference, L1 is typically acquired at the crucial period of cognitive development. That is, during even before the puberty age only, children will try to develop or acquire mother tongue, right? Whereas that doesn't happen in the second language learning. And it is not learned as a part of the learner's general cognitive development too. Almost it gets stopped, it becomes slow. The development process becomes slow by the time they reach puberty. So these are some of the differences. And on page 321, you have...
Ma'am, in N1, I think they no need to follow any rules and regulations. They can speak voluntarily, but in L2, they need to follow some rules. Even that also has a difference, no, madam?
Yes, that is what I said. It will be taught in a controlled in a controlled environment, right? Whereas L1 acquisition happens in an uncontrolled environment. See, suppose if a small child in the family speaks, he utters a different word for something else. We don't scold them, and we don't, say that you have to follow this or you should use verb after subject and all that. We don't say to that child. He just learns it and we correct him. And sometimes he observes the other people speaking that language and he tries to note down that, right? But whereas in L2 learning, it doesn't happen. The teacher keeps on telling him, come on, use SVO pattern only. After subject, write verb only. It's a controlled process, right? And on page 321, you can just go through. There are 9 differences given by Rod Ellis from between L1 acquisition and L2 learning. Okay. So just go through those differences. The differences which we have already discussed, the same thing. Clear? And the most important point here is as I said before, first language acquisition is different from second language learning. First language acquisition is a natural assimilation of the language, whereas the second language learning has to follow a formal pattern of learning. And that formal pattern of learning will be, might be by listening to the lectures of the teachers, or by reading and studying the textbooks prescribed for them, and also the classroom exposure. All right. And here the students are sometimes apprehensive in expressing their needs and desires in second language learning, whereas in first language learning, the child immediately, asks the parents, like he expresses his needs and desires very quickly and easily without any effort. So that is one. And the main important point here to remember is that the feedback. In second language learning, it is the teacher's responsibility to give the feedback of the student, whether they spoke it right or not, whether they wrote it right or not, where did they make the mistake, what mistake did they make, and why how should they correct that mistake, right? So the feedback is very important in case of second language learning, and this feedback should be given by the teacher. Am I clear? Did you all understand? Say yes, or no.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So we are done with this unit. So next one, I am going to start curriculum development. Okay? The theories of learning and all, we are done.
Ma'am, can you please repeat the lesson number, ma'am?
Lesson number 26. Now. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Lesson number? Curriculum. Have you come across this word?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that? What is curriculum?
Syllabus.
By adapting some activities which makes a student shows interest upon the subjects.
Any other answer?
It is a systematic way of
planning.
systematic way, ma'am. Like schools will be having the curriculum, no?
According to the Cunningham, it is in the hands of a teacher to mold his student, to mold the material into a shape, ma'am.
Material already.
Holistic activities, ma'am.
According to Cunningham, it is the framework of goals, objectives of the content.
Systematic process of teaching.
It is a systematic plan, ma'am.
It is a systematic plan of what?
Interactive systems.
Teaching, ma'am.
Of any content, topic, index to syllabus, whatever we have to teach or learn.
Okay.
Systematic plan of teaching learning process, madam.
Okay.
Systematic process of adapting methods, madam. Adapting methods.
Actually, it is an interactive system
part of curriculum. Methods is a part of curriculum.
systematic
Near planning.
interactive system of instructions and learning some specific goals, content, and strategies. Like
1 year
measurement.
planning. 1 year planning.
Okay. Planning. Fine. So I can say that curriculum is a general standardized description for the main study units of the educational institution. Now, I suppose you have a school. Now you have to design a curriculum for your students. So in what areas you would like your students to grow or to develop their knowledge? Right. So accordingly, what you'll do, you'll try to formulate some objectives, and to fulfill those objectives, you will select some of the topics. Okay, and those topics will be included in the form of included as the curriculum, which can be dealt by different subject teachers, right? Okay, are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And after this, like in that curriculum plan only, you have all the types of methods you would like to use while teaching learning process, and it also includes the activities you are trying to administer to your students, and everything can be done as somebody said, holistic education, imparting holistic education through the components included in your curriculum. Okay, this can also be done, and we also, like the school authority or the management also will have an idea, like what you are doing, actually what you want to do and what you are doing, and how is that proves beneficial to the students. Okay, so these are certain things that go into the curriculum development. By the way, what is the difference between curriculum and syllabus?
Syllabus is a part of curriculum.
Yes, syllabus is a part of curriculum. Like for example, in a school we have almost 6 subjects, right? And the syllabus, it is similar to the curriculum only, but it is pertained only to a particular subject. See, in my school, I want my students to have very good communication skills, and in my school, my students should also develop, knowledge to solve problems in mathematics very quickly, and I also want my students to learn about our own country's history, right? And apart from this, I want my students to also be aware of the national language, Hindi, in India, right? So I want all these. These are the objectives which I designed for my for the course for my students, right? So, but this syllabus is pertaining to a particular subject. Curriculum includes the syllabi of all the subjects. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
The word curriculum is a Latin verb, currere, which means to run. You have on 327 page. You can just go through that. And here they try to, come up with a framework of goals, objectives, content, pedagogy, and time. All these things will be included in the curriculum, and based on these factors, we can design curriculum, we can develop curriculum, and this happened even during in Anglo-Saxon countries. It happened in Anglo-Saxon countries. And it is nothing but curriculum was defined as plan for learning by Thaba in 1962. And there are many definitions given by many linguists here. The material developers, they gave many definitions. One such is McKinnon's curriculum can also be concerned with what is planned, implemented, taught, learned, evaluated and researched in schools and at all levels of education. And Johnson defines curriculum as a structured series intended learning outcomes. All right, there are many definitions that go into this. That define curriculum. And how to develop curriculum? There are some principles that should be followed while developing a curriculum. First thing, why should I develop curriculum? What is the need of the school as well as the students, right? Then what I'll do, I'll try to review everything, all these factors, and then I will plan. After planning, I'll try to come up with some components that go into the curriculum. So, in that way, I try to develop the existing curriculum. Then implementing, I'll try to implement the same. I mean, I follow the curriculum that for the students from then onwards, right? And then I'll try to maintain this curriculum also. I'm strictly following this curriculum and trying to achieve the goals set by the curriculum designer. All right. And so there are some important steps that are suggested in curriculum development. What are those important steps? The first one, needs analysis. Needs analysis. Whose needs we should consider?
Learners.
Students, ma'am.
Yes. So before we design a curriculum, a needs analysis should be done. We should try to find out the needs of our students. Accordingly, we should analyze those needs, and we should think of which components would help us to satiate the students in terms of their needs, right? So before the curriculum is designed, a needs analysis should be done. You select some of the students, and you can ask for their needs. What do they actually want from the school? What is their need? My need is like, they might say, I want to improve my English. So what kind of activities you will try to think of? Just giving some prose lessons or poetry lessons will not improve their spoken language, because they say that they want to improve their English. They want to speak good English. So how would they improve? I mean, how would they speak good English?
By providing authentic material, like real life situations.
Exactly.
We have to.
So we'll plan in that way, and we'll come up with some components, right? And what we'll do before deciding on the components, or before the selection of these components, we try to analyze all their needs, and we set some objectives. By the end of the course, what objectives can be achieved, right? Depending on the need. One will say, yes, I want to improve my spoken English. So my objective will be, objective of the curriculum. What will it be? To improve the spoken English of the students, to improve the mathematical knowledge of the student, to make aware of the history of our country among the students. So these are some objectives which I will try to formulate. Okay. And then comes the selection of the components or the subject matter. What I should select, and how, which should come first, like first standard to 10th standard, which will go into which standard. So that is also very important exercise that will be done by the curriculum developers. Okay. And then selection of learning experiences. Learning experiences, in the sense, it depends on the learning needs of the students, and that can be learned through the psychology and education, through the principles of psychology and education. Like some are very quick learners, some are very slow learners, but our curriculum should satiate the needs of both the types of learners. So in that way also we should try to think about the subject components that we try to include. Okay. And then after you develop the curriculum, after you select the subject and all, and after the division of the subject components based on the learning experiences, then you should try to evaluate the curriculum. And this evaluation can happen in two ways. First one, formative evaluation, and the summative evaluation. Are you able to understand? Very silent. Class is very silent.
Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Yes, madam.
Only few are responding. Others, I don't know. They are switching
ma'am.
on and sleeping, I think. Right in the afternoon, 1:30, after having a palatable
The
lunch.
lesson is very interesting, ma'am. At the same time, your teaching is also is up to the mark, so we don't want to disturb you.
Thank you, thank you. But you are all able to understand. That is what I need. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So here we have, there are two types of evaluation, right? Summative and formative. Formative and the summative evaluation. All of you turn the page 330. 330. Yes.
Bye, Bolly.
Please mute yourself. No? So, what is this formative evaluation now? This formative, suppose you started teaching English to your students right from day one. So what you'll do, you'll try to test your students after each unit or after 1 month, the assignments, internals, slip test, oral test, we do keep conducting. Yes, maybe some teachers are also there, I think, in the group.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
This formative evaluation. So when we are satisfied with the performances of our students in this, by applying the components selected in our curriculum, then it is a formative evaluation. Suppose when we evaluate the students at the end of the program or at the end of the year, at the end of the complete course, then that is summative.
Evaluation.
So did you get the difference between these two?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And here there is a table on page 330. This table shows that curriculum is more than a process. It is also a product. We'll discuss this in the next lesson. What is this process and product? We have two types of syllabi, which is a product-based one and which is a process-based one. We'll discuss that in detail. Okay? And now, what is the challenge that should be faced? The very thought of developing the existing curriculum itself is a challenge for everyone. What more should I bring into? How should I define? How should I select the right components which will comprise the curriculum, and how should I develop this? So there are three major planning elements. There are three major planning elements which involves content, purpose, and organization of learning. Content. What all components? For example, you just think about English subject, history, mathematics, right? Social studies, couple of these subjects. So the first one, already there is a curriculum in my school, but I want to develop it further because I'm unable to accomplish the objectives that I have set for my students to achieve at the end of the day. But it is not happening. So there is something wrong with the existing curriculum. So I want to change it, or I want to add more components into it, or else I want to entirely bring in the new components which would help me to achieve those objectives. Okay, so what I'll do, the content, I'll be focusing much on the content. What content should I use? If I use so and so types of contents, then what will be the use? Okay, all these I should think and I should plan accordingly. Then purpose. Why should I develop curriculum? Already there is a curriculum in my school. Why? So that purpose is very important for you to identify, rectify, and implement it. Okay. And then organization of learning. Okay. In the first standard itself, I will use sentence formation. And in the second standard, I will teach them how words are formed. Is this the correct way of organizing my components to teach my students?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
This organization also is very, very important. Okay, so you need to concentrate on these three factors. What are those three?
Components of curriculum, purpose of curriculum, organization of learning.
Yes. Content, purpose, and organization. There are many models of curriculum development. Okay, I mean, a model in the sense, for example, if you go for a house construction, the engineer will just give you a plan. That is a model.
The last technology that
Teaching aids, right?
Not teaching aids, dear. That is a different one. Model of curriculum development. We are talking about the curriculum. Okay, the whole, what contents will go into each subject. That is what we are trying to discuss here. So there we can come up with different models. Like in my model, for example, in Shamala has come up with a model, and there she gave more importance for the theoretical representation of the content. And then there is Rose, who came up with another model where it is very much activity oriented, right? And next, Uzma came out with another model, like where she balanced both theory and the activities. And I came up with another model. So we need to collect all these models, then analyze all these models. What do you mean by analyze? What is analysis?
Identify.
Studying and sorting out which is the best. Why is it best? Why is it best particularly for your students, right? And how you could implement that. So you should study the model. You should know which is the best one to be adopted in developing your curriculum. So there are different curriculum models, right? And these curriculum models have 5 areas which are being focused. The first one, the focus concept. Here, the first one is focus. The focus concept looks at a subject or a student and centers instruction on them. Okay, I want to improve the communicative competence of my students. So I should focus on my students, right? And I also should focus on the teachers. When I recruit my teacher, the teacher also should have, good communication skills. When I focus on my student, then automatically my focus will it will fall also on the teacher, all right? So this is what happens. And then the approach component, which is a traditional as well as a modern method. And how should I approach? Okay, I might call Shyam Sundar, my student, and I might tell him, come on, sit here. I'm holding a cane. Sit here. Read this sentence. I give him a dialogue. Okay, 2 or 3 exchanges between 2 characters. Come on, read this. And he will keep on reading that. Excuse me. He'll keep on reading that. And later on I'll come on what. I will give you another similar situation. I want you to write down the dialogues similarly. He will write, but he might not be able to use the same thing when he encounters in his real life. So there is a drawback, no? So what method I should use so that my students will not only they learn in the classroom, not only they use what they have learned in the classroom, within the classroom, but also beyond the classroom. Okay, so this is the approach component, and next comes the content component. Contents. Yeah, what kind of content should I include? Okay, I will use a paragraph taken from any movie, which is that paragraph sounds so violent, right? I can't choose that content to teach English to my students. I should choose the content in a way that it not only educates my student in English, but also should impart some values. I mean, it should make my student learn some moral ethics, moral values, which is also very, very important, life skills, right? So in the selection of the content also, I should be very careful. And then comes the process. Now, how should I evaluate them? Should I use formative type of evaluation or summative type of thing? How should I evaluate my learners? Should I give them multiple choice questions or fill in the blanks? Or should I ask them to go for a short descriptive type of question paper? So I keep thinking on those lines also, right? And finally, the structure components. The structure components in the sense that organization or arrangement in the curriculum development only. So I'll be focusing on, I review all what I have done. I'll go through that again, and then I might find some changes. Like I would like to bring in some productive changes within the arrangement of the things in my curriculum. So I'll do that. I review it and I'll do that, and it will come out the final proofread curriculum. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So these models generally they focus on these 5 components, right? 5 facts: focus, approach, content, process, structure. And here they have described to have 2 curriculum models. All these curriculum models can be placed under 2 broad categories: the product model and the process model. What is a product model of curriculum? Product model, product itself, it talks about the results, the consequences, right? For example, like I implement the curriculum that I have developed, and towards the end of the course, I try to evaluate my students and the results. Okay, if the results are really satisfactory, then I can adopt that model, which comes under product model. Okay, product based model. Opposite to that, if I adopt a process model means what? Generally, it focuses on how things happen in the learning. Like while we teach them, students come up with different types of questions. Sometimes even we as teachers, we feel that yes, this is the right question, I should answer that question, and to answer that question I should bring in some change in the curriculum. Okay, so that kind of thing, I think we try to encounter in the process of teaching. Okay, so we'll prepare a model in that way, and immediately we'll try to incorporate that particular component which we feel that it is very important. But when we'll realize that in the process of teaching, okay, and the product model, whatever happens, when we realize at the end of the course, when we gauge the performance levels of our students. Okay, oh, my students performed very low. Why? What might be the reason? Yes, I have given a very complicated, I have included very complicated components here, and the explanation of those components also is very complicated, of a high standard. My students, I should see that whatever I do, it should match the standards of my students, right? Suppose if I use sophisticated English to a second class or third class going child, they might not understand anything. If I use the same thing to a 10th class student, they will understand, right? So based on the standard and the understanding of our students also, we need to take care of designing these curriculum models. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All these curriculum models are, framed. And there are 5 broad categories to define the focus of these curriculum models. What are those 5 categories? The first one, subject or discipline centered. It is a framework. Within this framework, the curriculum is organized only around the subjects that are prescribed, like English, maths, science, social studies, right? Only subject based. The second framework is integrated. Integrated means when we put in all the subjects under one roof. Okay, and this model is used in problem based learning and experiential learning. The next framework is spiral framework. Here, the content is presented several times across the span of the school year. They have given one example from the subject math. Generally in the first chapter, students will be introduced to how to add. Second chapter, how to multiply. Third chapter, how to divide. And in the final chapter, they use all these together. Add these two, then subtract the result from this number, and then you divide that answer by 2. What is the answer? So we are repeating, no? We are repeating addition, we are repeating subtraction, we are repeating multiplication. All that is happening. So that falls under spiral framework. Okay. And the fourth one is inquiry or problem based. This one focuses on a central problem or question. The problem or question which really motivated us to develop our curriculum. So that problem, the problem which you identify, and you try to resolve that problem by bringing in some changes in the existing curriculum. You shall identify that one, and accordingly you will design it. And the fifth one is experiential. In this framework, students are allowed to participate in real life ways with their work, or experimenting with hypotheses, working through problems and finding solutions. For example, I want my student to go and open a bank account. Okay, I might give a situation and I might ask them to enact a role play. So what is happening here? The student will experience, when he really goes out to a bank, he knows whom to contact and whom to inquire about how to open this account and all. He will have an idea, right? Clear? Am I clear? Sleeping?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Neha, Deepika,
Yes, ma'am.
Apna, some people are there. Annapurna, Ganesh.
Clear, ma'am.
Very good, very good. Be active. So here, let us go back to the curriculum evaluation, that is the course evaluation. And we have seen there are 2, formative and summative. Page number 336. I want everyone to open this one. Page number 336. Here, first one, student performance results. This can be done through formative evaluation and summative evaluation. Okay. Then LEAP. What is this LEAP? Longitudinal evaluation of academic progress. Acha. So here we are trying to draw a graph between the performances between the first performance of the students and with that of the second performance of this. Like this month we conducted a test and they got some grade. Second month also we conducted the test and they got some other grade. You can either evaluate on the same course contents or you can change that, but the performance will tell you like how much they have understood. Okay, and their performances will show you how much your curriculum helped you to attain those objectives set by you. Okay, and then course assessment, state testing, all these are about the evaluation things. And next one is course or lesson performance, user feedback. Always try to take feedback from the students, teachers, and some other trainers. Like what did they observe when they are following this curriculum? Like students, are they satisfied? What more they want? So only by taking feedback from the students we'll come to know about that. And again, you have to analyze all the performance reports of the students' performances, right? And then you review again. Try to revise the curriculum every now and then. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Now the syllabus. So what is a syllabus and why do you think it is very important?
In detail.
Huh? Why is it important?
To know the content of the subject.
Exactly, very good. Syllabus actually means a label or table of contents or outline of a course study, a silhouette of the course study. Like we draw a tree, for example, I don't know how to prepare coffee. So what you do, Haripriya has given me a flow chart. She just said milk, and again she drew an arrow, water, then to boil together, then add tea powder, then sugar and something like that. Okay, in the form of a tree diagram. But I'll understand everything what goes into that, right? Okay, I should mix water with milk, water, I don't know. I don't drink tea or coffee. I don't know. They mix it or they don't mix it, it's okay. Putting that tea powder and sugar, right? Minimum thing. If I get that outline of what she tries to tell me, I'll understand everything. So that outline is nothing but the syllabus. And it can always syllabus contains outlines and a schedule of topics that could be discussed in the course. And what is the purpose of syllabus? The primary purpose of syllabus is to inform the students about the contents. Like one of you has just now said, the students should know like what are the contents they are going to learn and what are the objectives they should look for, and what are the requirements they should look for to improve their performance. Okay, and the syllabus it might be rigid or flexible. We can change it or else we can standardize it. And a flexible syllabus, it gives more freedom to the teachers. Like every now and then, whenever sometimes we plan something, we put it on the paper, but when we actually implement that practically, when we use that, we come across some problems. And we try to find out solutions for those problems, and we would like to change our syllabus. So if there is a flexible syllabus, then we can incorporate these changes every now and then or any time when we feel that something is useful and something is useless. Okay, so that is what happens. And syllabus, it is a public document. Everyone can go through that. Not only the learners or the school management or any outside person also can go through the syllabus of particular school or college. All right. And according to Rayleigh, a language teaching syllabus involves the integration of subject matter and linguistic matter. What is a subject matter? That, like, what we should, about which we are talking to with our students. Linguistic matter, how should we talk about that to our students? For example, I want to teach my students about the speech sounds, consonants, right? So I'll just give a list of that consonant sound symbols and also some examples, right? That is the subject matter. But how should I teach that? I should teach them. I should say each word. I should pronounce each word. I should produce each speech sound clearly. For example, I say ya. Then in the subject matter, I'll just write J. The symbol for ya is J. Do you remember? You might have learned first year. So subject matter is J, right? Small J. I'll use that. But when I'm trying to explain that, I should say it aloud and clearly, and I should give a number of examples so that they'll understand it. That is the linguistic matter. Clear? So,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. And syllabus always is based, in most of the time it is based on the cognitive theory of learning. Cognitivism means something happening with the brain, mind. Okay? Okay, you should remember that, right? And, okay, if I give this activity to my student, will he be able to do it? And how will I know whether he is able to do that or not? I should also know whether he had studied about that particular topic, or does he have any idea about that particular topic in the from the previous class or from other external sources. I should also think about that, right? So whenever I prepare syllabus, I should also see that it is based on the cognitive theory of learning. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All these characteristics, of a syllabus, we should keep it in our mind. Like, first point, a syllabus is a document which consists of the table of contents, the contents that we are going to discuss, right? That is the first one. And syllabus should be designed for a course, and that course, is it a beginner's course or is it an advanced course? You should also determine that factor. And then you also think that if I bring out this syllabus, is it comprehensive? Does it involve, I want to improve communicative competence of my students. So I should talk about the 4 language skills. I can't skip listening. I can't skip reading either. Okay, I should involve or include all the 4 skills. Right? So how would I include all these 4 skills? Does my syllabus cover all these 4 skills? In that way I'll think. And the content items, what kind of vocabulary should I use? Simple to complex structures. The topics also, simple to complex topics can be used here, right? And the methods, what kind of task, what kind of activities, or which method I should use to impart knowledge in this particular subject to my students. So all these are the characteristics of a syllabus we need to keep in our mind. And we'll be setting some objectives. Okay, I am including role plays in my syllabus. What is the objective? My objective? My students should be ready to communicate fluently in the target language, even in real life situations. This is my objective. Right? So this is an explicit objective that can be achieved after the completion of the course, after I teach these components to the students. Okay, so that thing. And another characteristic of the syllabus is that it is a public document. A syllabus has explicit objectives. A syllabus is a public document. Anybody can go through this syllabus, right? And always remember time. Everything is time bound. When you frame a syllabus or when you come up with a syllabus, you should also see that you manage time there. For one component, how much time it is required and all. Time factor is very important. And including visual images or some other things into the syllabus, like what kind of materials I should use to teach a particular topic. So I should think about those materials also. And I'll try to inculcate that kind of course books or that kind of materials into the, include in the syllabus. Clear? No answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, yes, I want to prepare a practical language teaching syllabus. So what steps should I follow? For this, Rayleigh and Terry in 1988, they have given 10 steps in preparing a practical language teaching syllabus. First step, okay, why should I start this course? And what are the outcomes of this course? Okay, so you are starting that course to improve the pragmatics of the target language, that is usage of the target language in authentic situations. And you have set some objectives. You should inform those objectives very clearly to your students. Second step, based on these outcomes, I should rank my syllabus, whether it is a simple one or a more than a simple one but less than a complex one, or whether it is I give ranking to my syllabus. Third step, evaluate the available resources in expertise, in materials and in training for teachers. Okay, here the resources for teaching, needs analysis, materials choice, all this will be counted, right? Then we should also think about what type of syllabus could be implemented easily, okay, within the available resources. Okay, I want to take my students to the bank and I want one of my students to open the bank account. I want to do it, but is it feasible? No. So what I do, I'll try to create a kind of environment, bank kind of environment in the classroom, and then I'll try to teach them. So that kind of thing I can do. So that type of syllabus I'll try to develop. Next, compare the syllabus. Like, you might be having the previous syllabus and the new syllabus. So you will compare these two syllabus based on the performances of the learners. And you will see which is the best one and why it is best. And what more, like both of them are not up to the mark. So you want to okay, so you want to, make some additions or subtractions in the syllabus. And you repeat the same process always like depending on the teachers' suggestions, observations, and the needs of the learners. And then you need to come up with the final syllabus. Okay, after taking into account the observations of the teachers and the needs of the learners, you'll come up with the syllabus, and that should be the final one. And you should come up with not just single one or two types of syllabus. Then whichever is more dominant and whichever is seems to be more beneficial to the students, you can just adopt that. Okay, and then you can you can either combine those two, or you can select only one and use that. And then translate decisions into actual teaching units. Like what all you had in your mind while preparing the syllabus, you try to use that practically in the classroom. Okay, in the form of teaching units. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
There are some disadvantages of these syllabus.
Yes, madam.
According to Saraswati, some syllabi are vague. They are too general and often mean nothing. Okay, and some syllabus designers, sometimes they'll be wrongly assuming that we know what are the learners' needs. They say, no need to ask my students. I know what they really need. We can't do like that, right? We need to ask the learners. And sometimes, syllabi are always imposed by a higher authority. Swapna comes out with a syllabus. I come out with a syllabus and I say, no, I am the teacher. I should be using only this in syllabus in my class, not yours. I can't use my authority to impose syllabus always, right? And syllabus designers, they should they shouldn't be in an illusion that they know everything and we can do it. If I give this, learners will learn it. No, never be like that. Try to think from the learner's perspective when you are preparing syllabus. And sometimes, the learners, they too have, they suppose they want to learn English, listening skills, right? In their mind, they have a syllabus already prepared by themselves. Now, when they come to the school, when they find that syllabus on improving listening skills, that might sometimes match and sometimes it might be different. But still, that's why always whatever we use might not be beneficial to the learner. So these are some constraints. And what is the importance of English syllabus? To develop all the 4 skills of the language and to help the learners to use language in the real life situation, right?
Yes. Speaking, writing.
Yes, all that 4 language skills, and to help them to become better speakers of English, right? All these are the factors which make inclusion of English syllabus in the curriculum. Okay?
Yes.
Did you all get this? Like what is the difference between curriculum and syllabus, then characteristics of a syllabus. Saraswati also differentiated curriculum from syllabus, the same thing, right? And the steps involved in designing syllabus, the 10 steps, and the importance of English syllabus, and the what actually we should yes, the process-oriented syllabi and the product-oriented syllabi. All that we'll study in the next one. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Shall I continue? Shall I give 1 minute gap?
Your wish, ma'am.
My wish. Okay.
5 minutes, ma'am.
Not 5 minutes, dear.
Okay, ma'am.
This is our third class. I'll be left with 2 more classes where I should finish the types of syllabus and one more thing. Yeah, we'll do it, no problem. Today I'll try to discuss types of syllabi, the product and process based syllabi, structural syllabus, notional functional syllabus. Okay. Now, what are the types of syllabi? Syllabus of language teaching or learning, they falls broadly under 2 types, product oriented and process oriented. It says that they fall under synthetic and analytic syllabus. Right. Now let us see what is a product oriented syllabus. Yes. Okay. And what is product oriented syllabus? These are the traditional syllabus. It is a traditional one, synthetic one, and it is widely used for many years in this process of language teaching and learning. Generally, this product oriented syllabi focus on the end result or outcome, what learners will know as a result of the instruction. Like, English as second language course books. These are the models of product oriented syllabi. They go through that course books, they learn something, they try to express the same what they have learned aloud, and their performance, towards the end, how they are performing. That determines the type of syllabus that particular person has followed. Product oriented syllabus. For example, you're going to appear for IELTS, and I gave you a book. You read this and take your exam. So you read that book, and I'm not trying to evaluate you at times in the middle, right? So what I'm doing, I just gave the book, and you are going through that. If you have any doubts, I'm clarifying them, and also explaining some of the concepts. And finally, you give exam, and you'll get a grade. Okay. So if the material that you are following, that the plan in the form of syllabus that you are following, that falls under product oriented syllabi. Now, what is process oriented syllabi? It is a modern and analytic one. Here we analyze from time to time. What all we teach, we analyze our own teaching materials from time to time. Oh, this material is not, up to the mark of a student's understanding. So I should change this. I analyze the things like that. In between only. I don't wait till the course ends. Okay, from time to time, I try to analyze and I try to bring in the changes. Okay, those books, like for example, training for communication skills. They have given here some examples. What I'll do, I'll try to design a syllabus, how to improve the communication skills of my students. And I try to implement that in my training course. But I don't know, somewhere the syllabus which I prepared is not working as expected. I need to bring in changes in that. So I'll try to either make it more activity oriented. Okay, so that one I can change from time to time according to the situation prevailed and according to the learner's ability of taking in the things. All right, so that kind of syllabi will come under process oriented syllabi. And there is one more person, Mohsini Far. He has listed 13 influential types of syllabi which are used in English language teaching. What are those 13? Procedural, cultural, situational, skill-based, structural, multidimensional, task-based, process, learner-led, proportional, content-based, notional, functional, or lexical. I mean, what procedure we are using, the culture of the native speakers of the language, the situations in which language is used to improve what kind of skills, new skill-based one, content-based one. All these are, the types of syllabi that were listed out by Mohsini. Now, let us see this product-oriented syllabus in detail. It has three major types. Product-oriented syllabus is again divided into three types. First one, structural or grammatical. Here, the syllabus will include all the rules and structures of the language, like grammar rules, right? And grammar rules in the sense it includes all the grammar elements. Parts of speech, nouns, pronouns, verbs, tenses, concord, gerunds, then all these things, articles, then adverbs, conjunctions, all these linking verbs, right? All these can be included in this. And then structure, like, types of sentences and how they are, which structure they are following and all that, examples of that. Right, I'll be just using that, but I might not focus on the needs of learners. Right here, in structural and grammatical one, I'll just give him the rules of all grammar, what grammar should be used, where it should be used and all, that's it. At the end of the course, I'll conduct tests and I'll give them grades. But here, am I focusing on the needs of the learners? Am I?
No.
No, ma'am.
Yes. Now the second type is notional or functional. Now here it is based on functions of the language usage. This is very important. Like for example, functional language. That means like how to greet a teacher, how to greet a friend, when to apologize, how to request. All these can be conveyed. All these can be learned under this type of syllabus. So it is very communicative, and this will be under the control of a teacher. So teacher tells them, come on, I will give a situation where you should apologize or where you should request. I know how you would learn that. You will learn how to use that language in authentic situations. But whatever teacher says, whatever teacher gives a situation, within that vicinity only the students will perform. Is there any creativity happening from the student side?
No.
Yes, they are just observing. That's it. Right? They're passively taking in what teacher is giving them. And the third type under this product-oriented syllabus is situational. And this syllabus is based on the collection of sample situations. They might be authentic or they might be unauthentic, right? For example, like I create a situation, telephone conversation. I want to buy a birthday gift to my friend, so I'll be discussing with another friend which would be the best birthday gift to give my friend, right? Something like that. There are some examples given in your text: petrol bunk, shopping at a mall, reporting a theft, and all that. But here also, learners, they learn the situation specific vocabulary only. But when they face the real situation, they might not be using the same structure or the language. Okay, they might not be using the same. They fail that because they don't have enough practice in doing that, right? So these are the three types of syllabus which fall under product-oriented syllabus. And then comes the process-oriented syllabus. Am I clear with product-oriented syllabi?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Only few people. What about Yadamma, Annapurna, Shailja, Jyoti, Maheshwari, Sukanya, Ganesh,
Understood. I will
Yes,
take
ma'am.
points.
Yes,
Tejasri?
ma'am.
Come on, wake up.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't sleep, please. So now here process-based syllabus also can be divided into three types. First one, procedural or task-based syllabus. And second one, learner-led or communicative syllabus. Third one, proportional syllabus. Now procedural or task-based syllabus. This is based on the different activities or different tasks that you conduct for your students in a classroom, and how you will engage your students to use the target language, right? This will definitely motivate your learners to improve their 4 language skills. Usually this task-based syllabus is framed around the task like information and opinion gap activities, fill in the blanks, multiple choice, so that information and opinion gap activities, so that they can learn the language subconsciously, and consciously they'll be engaged in the task. For example, applying for a job, reporting, etc. Now I'll give a task to you people. You have these qualifications, you are applying for a job in a school. Come on, write a cover letter. So what you'll do, you'll be writing that. At the same time, you also will be learning language subconsciously. Okay, but there are some disadvantages for this task-based syllabus too. What are those? Lack of accuracy, pace of learning. They learn very slowly. They should write that letter. While writing, they'll be thinking about the vocabulary that should be used there. Sometimes they might not use the appropriate vocabulary because they are unaware of it. Okay, so these are the disadvantages for this syllabus. Then learner-led or communicative syllabus. This is proposed by Breen and Canlin in 1984. And this syllabus focuses on the learner and the learner's involvement in the implementation and evolution of the syllabus design. I just gave you an example in the middle of the class, like when we keep teaching in the class, some students will raise up and raise some questions which are quite sensible. And even the teacher feels, yes, they are right and they are worth to be included in the syllabus. What happened? That kind of freedom is given to the learners. And learners will be given freedom to choose what exactly they want to learn. Okay, so learners' interests are kept in mind while preparing this kind of syllabus. And here one thing to note is teachers' control is very less. And if the learners are not responsible in the process of learning also, if teachers' control is less, then how would that class go on? It might not take place, right? Teachers also should monitor their students in the teaching and learning process, right? Otherwise, the purpose will be lost. Now, proportional syllabus. This basically attempts to develop an overall competence wherein language is learned in proportion what is required of him in a given situation. It consists of a number of subtopics within the main topic, playing a linking role through the units. It is a practical approach, which seems to be very much relevant for learners who lack exposure to the target language beyond the classroom. So this syllabus basically, it tries to develop the overall competence of the learner. Overall competence in the sense, his body language, verbal and non-verbal communication, both the aspects, right? it takes care of all this. Whereas the other syllabus, where the language is learned in proportion. First I want to improve my reading. So I'll be taking task only in the reading section. In the proportions and divisions, we'll try to learn that. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, product-based syllabus, you can just open page 354. Did you all? 354, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, they gave examples for the structural syllabus. We discuss the advantages and disadvantages of the syllabus. Look at the table there. They gave present tense and past tense of the verb write, wrote, seesaw. They give only this much and the students will learn this, but they fail to use it in the authentic situations. They don't know how to use it in the real life situations. That is the main drawback of this structural syllabus. And here also on page 355, they have given an example of how structural syllabus will progress, like one after the other, how the elements are organized. Now page 356, somebody can read out the advantages of the structural syllabus, please. Already we discussed all this, but still, just like that.
Can I, ma'am?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Advantages of the structural syllabus. First point, being traditional and old, teachers and learners are familiar with basics. Depending on the learner's knowledge, the complexity of syllabus can be designed from simple to complex items. Second point, it is easy to explain and easy to learn. Teaching and testing are relatively simple. Third point, the learner moves from simple to more complex grammatical structures. Learning new structures enriches vocabulary and each component adds up till the language is built. Fourth point, it is very much helpful to develop writing skills and a teacher can correct or give feedback on accuracy.
Okay. Is there any doubt in these 4 points? I already discussed all these 4 points. Do you have any doubt? Anybody?
No, ma'am.
No, madam.
Sazia?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, disadvantages. Annapurna, you can just continue reading disadvantages.
Yes, ma'am. Disadvantages of the structural syllabus. First point, the major problem in the structural syllabus is the theory on which it is designed. Information of forms and structures of language or learning facts about language structures is not learning the language. Second point, there is no analysis of learner needs, no linguistic grading with a tendency to produce boring lessons despite the best efforts of highly skilled teachers and textbook writers. Third point, lack of creativity makes the learning boring. Learners cannot apply the language of unfamiliar structures. It limits the usage and sounds very bookish and artificial. Fourth point, it blocks the natural communicative process as learners try to fit communication into tables or structures and they are always preoccupied with grammar and structure.
Okay, so these are the disadvantages of the structural syllabus. What is a structural syllabus? Yes? It includes
Rules.
is a product oriented syllabus and it is also it includes grammatical rules, grammatical, formal, traditional, synthetic. It is also called as grammatical, formal, traditional, synthetic syllabus. Now comes the notional or functional syllabus. I mean, what does this syllabus means? Just to answer the structural syllabus, they came up with the notional or functional.
Language usage. How to use language.
It is a way of using the language outside in the classroom and beyond the classroom. And this one is based on the notions and functions. Notions means rules.
Request topology.
Conveying.
Yeah, rules and yes, rules and the functions, right? Here, a notion is is a particular context in which people communicate. It also refers to the conceptual meanings that are expressed through language in that context, like attitude, implied meaning. Notion. Suppose I say, he is a scholar's son. Scholar's son. What do I mean by saying? I mean, there is a hidden meaning in my saying, the way I use the tone here. You might have studied in intonation. He's a scholar's son. He's a scholar's son. Yes, he is also genius because he is the son of a scholar. He is a scholar's son? What nonsense are you talking? He doesn't have brains at all. And you say he is the son of a scholar. So that kind of implied meaning can be understood through the syllabus, right? Are you able to understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Next one, function. A function is a use of language to achieve a specific purpose by a speaker in a given context. For example, writing an apology or greeting. Okay. You want to invite your friend to your birthday. How you would invite your friend? And what is the difference of extending your invitation to your teacher? What is the difference in the language usage, right? So you will be learning all those things. That is functional English. Like you learn the English which is used in the authentic situations, right? And even this one has advantages and disadvantages. Anyone can please read out for me advantages and disadvantages. Anybody? Please read out advantages.
Advantages, merits of the notional functional syllabus. It has a communicative approach along with grammar and situational functions. Mastery over language is not expected. Second point, the learners get realistic situation where they get to use the spoken language. Therefore, do not sound bookish or artificial. Third point, learners get to express their own ideas, notions, and experience in the target language. Next, fourth one, it is flexible in terms of addressing social, cultural, job, or vocational needs of learners.
So they know. Would you please tell me where could I find vacancy positions? I mean, in which paper or something? You know, the way you ask them, how you would request, right? And how would you like to know? Yes, we do celebrate Ganesh Chaturthi every year. I don't know much about Ramzan. Could you please tell me about the significance of your festival, Ramzan? I mean, the way we try to speak, that functional language, that is learned. But make a point, note a point here. You can't master over the language. I mean, by just following this syllabus. Now, disadvantages, Ruhina?
Okay, ma'am. Disadvantages, demerits of the notional functional syllabus. First point, it assumes that the learner has knowledge of basic forms, structures, and vocabulary of the target language. Second point, the learner gets confused about functions and notions if there is no prior exposure to the target language. Third point, usage of different structure for the same function can confuse the learner and grading becomes difficult. Fourth point, presenting language learning in small terms goes against the nature of language, and learners have stock fixed expression and structure formula.
Yes. So here, now these are the disadvantages of the notional functional syllabus. So what are the current trends that are being used, like in terms of adopting syllabus, the types of syllabus. So I want my students to learn grammar. At the same time, I want my students to use correct English in authentic situations. So what I'll do, I'll try to mix up this grammatical syllabus with the functional syllabus, and I'll develop a new syllabus, right? That could, to some extent, satiate the needs of the learners, right? So these emergence of multi-syllabus, which includes grammar that can be linked to skills and text, and task can be linked to topics, different topics and functions, or text in other way. All these can be are being done right in nowadays. Like they are just mixing up and coming up with a common syllabus where they can try to attain those objectives at the end of the course. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody, do you have any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Now, I'll continue this in tomorrow's class. I'll try to finish off lesson 29 and 30 in tomorrow's class. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you,
Okay,
madam.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Don't leave the class. We have time.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
5 minutes more. Yes. So, 22 members joined. Fine. Any doubts in this? What all we have discussed till now? Do you have any doubts or anything to share with me or with other classmates regarding this subject?
Can you give material? It is easy in book only, but it is lengthy, no? If you have, you can give.
I have material which is much lengthier than the one in the text.
Okay, ma'am.
So what?
Can give them questions. Can you?
But one thing, I'll give the important questions once I'm done with the other 2 lessons also.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. In the previous unit, did I give all the important questions?
No, ma'am.
Till where I have given?
You given
Behaviorism.
Achha, behaviorism, cognitivism, right?
Yes.
And okay, write down this question. Write a brief note on the
Yes, ma'am.
on the mother tongue interference in learning second language. Mother tongue interference in learning second language.
Yes, ma'am.
Done?
Over, ma'am.
Tejasri?
Yeah, ma'am.
You're there, no?
Okay, ma'am. I'm writing.
Good. Deepika?
Yes, ma'am. Completed.
Completed. So done?
Completed.
Okay, the next question. Differentiate first language acquisition from second language learning. Differentiate first language acquisition from second language learning.
Okay, ma'am. Over.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
And then that's all, no? In that, let me have a look. Curriculum and all I'll give you after I finish 29th and 30th lesson, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Another question. Discuss the factors that contribute. Discuss the factors that contribute L1 acquisition and L2 learning.
Contribute?
L1 acquisition and L2 learning.
Fine.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Done, ma'am.
I want you people to, read the textbook, and I'll be sending some material on the WhatsApp group. We have our own, your class WhatsApp group, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'll try to share some material on that group. What you do, you read the text as well as that material, and then you try to get more information on that topic or concept from different Google online sources, right? And then you prepare your own notes. Don't waste your time. When you prepare your own notes, what happens? You will remember, and you will never forget that, and that 80% of your preparation for the exams will be done.
Ma'am, can we write the notes in points to remember?
You can write in your notebook. Yes, you can write point wise also, so that you'll remember, no, each and every point.
Yes, ma'am.
You can explain the same thing in the exam.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Madam, 22 and 23rd lessons you explained, ma'am. Cognitivism and learning.
Ask your friends.
I have a little bit doubt, that's why I'm asking.
Everything is done.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
I finished all that. Try to attend the classes, don't skip. Because I'll be giving some examples, very good examples, which might not be in your textbook. You can't find them. So when you listen to the lectures, you will try to note down those important points and good examples also, right?
I have school online classes. That's why I'm coming after 12 o'clock. That's why I'm asking.
No, I take my class at 1:30. The other day I took class at 9 o'clock.
Yes. In that time I was absent.
You were absent. Yeah. That's why you might have missed. But anyway, you go through the text. If you have any doubts, you can just revert. All right. I'll clarify your doubts.
Okay, ma'am.
Anything else? Okay, you know my name, right? Everybody is aware.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Madhavi,
Yes,
ma'am.
Madhavi madam.
Is written there.
Yes, ma'am.
So do that and follow my instructions. Prepare your own answers for the questions which I have given you. You're done. For the exams also, if you go through those questions and those answers that you prepared, already you prepared, you will, you are preparing for your exams also. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other doubts you have? You can just let me know.
No, madam. No, madam.
Okay, other in the curriculum also, I'll try to give some more important questions. Meanwhile, you can write those also, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
Your explanation is good, ma'am.
Thank you.
But you're going little bit slow, fast, ma'am.
Yes.
Your explanation are marvelous. To note on the point for me, I'm facing it, but your explanation was marvelous. It's very practically you're explaining with examples and everything, so it's really understandable. But writing the examples, it is taking some time. So you're going, if you write one point, you're going to some other point. The connection is not at all coming. So
No.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, I'm done with 3 classes, right? and I am left with 2 classes. Within that 2 classes, I should finish these 2 lessons, and communicative syllabus and the task-based syllabus, they take much time, and they are very important also. Okay, so I'll be spending, I should spend much time on that, and again dating back to the unit 3, some of the methods and approaches. There also I'm dealing with 2 to 3 concepts which should be discussed in detail. So previous 2 classes and even today also I was little bit slow. I don't think I'm going that fast, but still I should also finish all these things, no? You read the text.
Yes.
Yeah, as soon as I finish, you read the text, you will understand better. That one I can assure you. Okay. Yeah. Take the questions. What is curriculum? How is it different from syllabus? Okay. What is curriculum? How is it different from syllabus? Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Finished writing?
Okay, ma'am. Over.
Over.
Okay, ma'am.
Next.
Yes, ma'am.
List out the important steps suggested in curriculum development.
Over, ma'am.
Okay.
Over, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
What are the different models for curriculum development? What are the different models for curriculum development?
Okay, ma'am.
And discuss the 5 areas they define. And briefly discuss the 5 areas they define.
Can you please repeat it?
Okay.
Okay.
Next one. What is the significance of curriculum in education? What is the significance of curriculum in education?
Over, ma'am.
What is the question, ma'am? What is significance of curriculum in
education?
Ma'am, can you repeat the third question, ma'am? What are the difference?
Anybody, please? I forgot.
Discuss the factors.
Just the factors.
Contribute.
Yeah, Annapurna, please.
L1 acquisition.
Hey, not that one. Before madam said no. What is the significance of?
Yeah, here it is. What are the different models of? Can I say that?
Significance of curriculum.
What are the different models for curriculum development, and briefly discuss the 5 areas they defined?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
What is the significance of curriculum in education? That is over, ma'am.
Yeah, that is over. Now next question.
Yeah, 5th question.
What are the characteristics of a syllabus?
Characteristics of a
syllabus.
Short answer question time.
Yeah. Ma'am, I missed the first one. Sorry. Apologies. What is curriculum and how is it different?
How is it
from syllabus?
different from syllabus?
Okay, thank you.
Next one. Should I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the different steps? What are the different steps followed in preparing a practical language teaching syllabus? What are the different steps followed
in preparing a practical?
What are the different steps followed in preparing a practical language teaching syllabus? Next question. The choice of syllabus. Come on, are you writing?
What, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
The choice of syllabus.
Say that again, ma'am, please, from the beginning.
The choice of syllabus. The choice of syllabus.
Yes, ma'am.
A major decision is a major decision in language teaching.
Major decision
in language teaching. Full stop. Discuss.
Okay, ma'am.
Next one. Write an essay. Write an essay on the types of syllabi. I mean the two categories, product oriented and process oriented, and they types, three types. All that you should write.
Write an essay on the types of syllabi.
Syllabi.
Syllabi, ma'am.
Yes, types of syllabi.
Okay, ma'am.
Write short notes on. Write short notes on. Write short notes on. Write short notes on structural syllabus and notional functional syllabus.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay? Done?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We all
Yes,
make
ma'am.
a note?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. It is clear, ma'am.
If you have any doubts, you can contact me either on phone or on WhatsApp group, right?
Yes, ma'am. Formative, ma'am.
Formative
Assessment.
and formative evaluation and summative evaluation.
That one, if maybe in exam will come.
Will come. We can't say, but it is. I think you understood what is a formative evaluation and summative evaluation, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but anyway, you write short notes on types of evaluation. Write down this question also. Write short notes on types of evaluation.
Okay, one more thing, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, when you finish the topic, then after, tell me some important questions, ma'am, for exam, where I keep focus on topics, ma'am.
All these are important questions from the examination point of view. You won't get one or two questions as important. All these are important. Any question might be asked. What is your name? Galaxy J2?
Okay. My name is Swapna, ma'am.
Swapna.
Yeah.
It appears Galaxy J2.
J2. I don't know, ma'am. What will on screen? I don't know. My name is Swapna, ma'am.
Okay, Swapna, all these questions are very important. You might get any question from this list of questions, right?
Ma'am, I have doubt. For assignments are there, no? How will improve my score, ma'am? Marks. Last time I get marks very less, ma'am. I wrote very nice, but where I focus on.
If you write really very nicely and to the point,
yes,
okay, definitely you will get good marks. That means somewhere something you might have missed, the quality of the answer. And assignments are like, it's an open book system, right? You can write and then submit.
Madam, all are getting low marks only because
in the paper one only we get less marks.
Didn't complete our answers.
That means you are not representing your answers.
Yes. Correct. Excuse me, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Everybody got less marks in that paper. Everybody.
Yeah, I can't
the best.
I can't hear you. Come back.
Everybody scored the less marks in that paper, ma'am. Mostly students are given the best in that paper.
Given their best, but they got very less marks.
Very less marks. Even myself, I am also come under the category.
Only paper one, ma'am. All other papers are very good for me.
No, in the first year, you're talking about first year.
Yeah, first year, first paper, paper one.
I'm nowhere connected with that. I'm teaching you now, right? First year,
yes, ma'am.
I don't know first year, right?
Ma'am, what do you suggest? Any textbook for this ELT? Because some of the topics I'm not able to understand in the material. So, any different textbook can you suggest?
There are many textbooks as such if you search in the Google, but I don't recommend one textbook as such. And this is a very, this text is like, the concepts there are so practically oriented ones. You need to understand the concept, try to illustrate your understanding about that concept through examples, right? That is how you will represent an answer.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. There are many textbooks, Radhika. You can just go and search. You have prescribed books also at the end of the lesson and all. You can just go, right? I think I should give space for the other teacher to join the class, right? See you all then in tomorrow's class. Good day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.